large part of our economy is dependent on tourist dollars. What do we want our city to look like 20 years from now? None of us moved here. None of us come here to enjoy the valley to look at billboards.
Well, in Phoenix, we did start out well. As an advocate for neighborhoods and communities, I saw a proliferation of billboards as being a real problem. And so as mayor back in the early 80s, I instituted a moratorium against any new construction. And I thought we were going to have a battle royal, that the advocates for the business community on the council were going to be, at my throat and trying to do away with any restrictions. And quite the opposite happened. The main business advocate on the council leaned over to me as in the middle of our first hearing and said, "Do you know anybody that really likes billboards?"
So the city staff went to work and drafted an ordinance in 1986 that brought billboards under control. According to the planning department, there were 781 billboards that conformed to that law. That was then. But then everything changed, and things got out of control. Now there are around 1,500 billboards in Phoenix and 52 digital billboard faces. That doesn't include hundreds of boards in surrounding cities such as Chandler and Glendale. Quite often when people get upset about this issue, it's one particular billboard that sets them off. This was the one that did it for Jim Mapstead, a CBS outdoor digital billboard in a particularly scenic area.
This is a classic example of billboard company arrogance. The east-facing side, the city said, could be digital, but the west face had to be static because it faced a residential area. The economic impact that this is having on homes exactly like this in neighborhoods across America, not just in Phoenix, is astonishing. And legislators and city council members need to get the message that this doesn't work for us. This is blocking our aesthetic views. I don't understand personally why billboard companies have an inherent right to trump the aesthetic views of everybody here in our valley. This doesn't make sense to me.
So CBS Outdoor activated the west side of this digital billboard just 2 weeks before this interview. A CBS representative was heard to say that they would just pay a fine if necessary, but they would get clearance soon enough, so why not go ahead and turn it on? What's the law got to do with it? The Phoenix area has some fabulous things going for it. Old Town in Scottsdale is on everyone's list to visit. It doesn't need billboards or allow them. It has a sense of place that can't be denied. Downtown, the area around the sports facilities is an entertainment district, and special signage is part of the attraction. But you can't just create a place with billboards and think you're going to have Times Square or Las Vegas. Clear Channel has proven this with their branded cities concept in Glendale, in the northwest part of the Phoenix metropolitan area. The concept is to basically create an entertainment center by combining sports venues. In this case, the homes of the NHL hockey team and the Phoenix Cardinals NFL football team. Throw in a cinema multiplex, some restaurants, and a lot of signage of various sorts. I believe that they got their inspiration from the 1982 movie Blade Runner, which was set in the future, 2019 to be precise. Anyway, Clear Channel sold its interest in the branded cities entity to the developer of this complex. It's now known as L Media. Now this place is probably pretty busy for a couple of hours, 8 or 10 Sunday afternoons each fall when the football team plays. But it doesn't seem to be much of a people magnet the rest of the time. And the developer of this property has lost ownership of his creation. In the light of day, Phoenix, like many other parts of the country, is having to come to grips with the fact that it has massively overbuilt in the past decade. It was a period of steroids, both in sports and development. And nowhere is this more obvious than in the outdoor advertising industry. The proliferation of signage has been profound. There are now more than 70 electronic billboard faces in the Phoenix metropolitan area.
This is such beautiful scenery, and I just like looking at those mountains and how disruptive it is when those billboards are just one after another. It's like an insult on your senses, and it takes away from the beauty of this part of the country. And so many people come here to see America's Southwest, and you can't even see it without having to look at all the advertisements first.
what I thought was an eternal statement against new boards in the Phoenix area turned out to be only a temporary statement. So it has to be replenished, it has to be revived, and it has to be constantly tended. And the bottom line is the companies have huge resources. They are able to exploit every legal and sometimes not so legal nuance that can allow them to put another sign in another location and then get it bigger and higher and brighter. And that's something that cities across the country, and especially the one I care about right here in Arizona, need to be aware of and then put a stop to. Continual vigilance is what you need.